Welcome to the Real Estate Show on KMED. July the 16th is our date. Pete Belcaster and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. We're both real estate brokers with John L. Scott in Southern Oregon, and we get together with you once a week here on KMED to talk about all sorts of real estate-related issues and topics, and with great guests thrown in between here. We've been doing this for 7 years this month. We're celebrating our 7th anniversary all month long here. Anyway, you can get all of our past shows at realestateshowOregon.com as well, and we invite you to go there and look at them or watch them as well.
We did a really detailed audience survey and found that people were much more interested in us having our great panel of guests in every week as opposed to Pete and I just talking about real estate for an hour each week. So
yeah, we learned that like about the first week of that. Anyway, last week, if you missed the show, Jim Remley was with us, and we had a Market Watch show, and go back and listen to that. Glenn Cunningham, our CPA, taxes and real estate, was a few weeks ago as well. Coming up, which is really going to be fun, Kelly Matting, Jackson County's Community Development Director, will be here next month, and then the sheriff, Corey Falls, will be here over Labor Day, and we're going to get his year update on the recreational marijuana world that he faces in real estate kind of issues that have come along with that.
Been busy years
I can't wait
for
to
them
hear
both.
that.
That'll be great stuff.
Can't wait to hear him. Today, though, well, we've got the mortgage expert in the house, and that's Guy Giles from Bank 34 Mortgage with us. And first of all, how you doing? You keeping cool this summer? What's going on with you?
Keeping cool because I'm stuck in my office for 15 hours a day. Definitely.
For what? Are you that busy? Are you that busy?
It really is.
Wow.
I got a few refis that have trickled in over the last couple of weeks. That's not primarily my business. I try to focus on purchase money just because everything's so volatile. If rates go up a little bit or rates go down a little bit in the middle of your refinance, you're fighting with everybody trying to deal with everything they're seeing on the internet. But for the most part, we're doing a lot of purchases still. A lot of people moving into town. Same story I've been saying for a few years on the radio.
Yeah.
But it is keeping us busy for sure.
So what kind of rates are you you're quoting to people today? I mean, I go to these meetings, and you read all the stuff on the internet, and it's wow, it just continues to kind of go down. I mean, that's what it looks like anyway.
Well, it's definitely trickled down a little bit from where it was. We're in the mid threes. It kind of dipped into the low threes. I mean, by the way, government stuff all day long. Yeah, I mean, if you have any kind of a decent credit score, a lot of times we're paying a point on a government loan to give you a 3.25%. So rates are really in the government stuff in the low threes for a 30-year fix.
Okay, now when you talk government loans, you're talking which ones? Just to remind people of which ones.
FHA, USDA, and VA loans. Okay. So especially if you have any kind of a service-connected disability at all, the VA loan, I like it the best. It's a great program, but you can't really beat the rates on those. We're on your regular traditional ones, your Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, your 20. Hey, I got 5% down. I have 20% down. We're looking in the mid threes to high threes. So just depending on
how
your
much down.
profile.
How much down did you say?
Well, you can go as little as 3%.
3% on a conventional loan.
On a conventional loan, yeah. Well, and you have to have certain income limits on those. So, and it has to do with the median house value. There are certain little pockets around here in Ashland, believe it or not, that have no income limits. So if you give me a call, if you have an address, a lot of times, believe it or not, no matter what your income is, you can qualify for that loan. It's been kind of sold as a first-time homebuyer program, and as long as you don't own a house when you close that, you are actually eligible for it. So it's a home-ready program. It's really... it's one that I haven't dug super deep into until recently, and I'm kind of liking some things about it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Jim Remley told us last week we've got a bunch of really savvy millennials out there, young people that are coming into home ownership and are doing their due diligence, and they are really on their game. We should explain to them that these 3 and 4% interest rates are not typically what we've seen over time, kids. This is really unique to the opportunity that's out there because typically home interest rates far above and beyond that.
It's really weird when you're having a 3.7%, conversation with somebody and you're almost apologizing because they have a mid 600 credit score and you're giving them this horrible rate. And, historically, up until really recently, I had a 4.25 on my house and I thought that was the greatest thing in the whole wide world when I got it. And it can't last. There's no way. Now, I've been saying it's not over yet. I don't want to hear
anybody anymore say that to me about this business because it is what it is. And right now, how long it goes. I think that's the question, right?
I think even though, when we get little blips like today, we had a little bump in interest rates today. There was some inflation numbers that came out that hurt them a little bit. But overall, the economies are really weak. You wouldn't know it from looking at the stock market. But, I mean, realistically, I think low rates are here for a while.
All right.
So, and I don't think we're going to have any hyperinflation.
What about 15-year loans? Are people getting those? Because that's even below 3% if you can pull that off. Do you do any of those, Guy? Do you see much of that at all? I don't see a ton. I think I have 18 loans going right now, and maybe 2 of them are 15 years. And it's just that person that's really, been wanting to get out of debt. And you will pay a lot less interest. The only thing I caution people about, especially people that are, in their 40s and 50s that are, wanting to do those, a lot of times you'll get into the retirement age, you're 5 years into that loan, and all of a sudden you come to me and say, now I want to refinance and go into a 30-year loan because my income's going to be fixed. So don't, take it the wrong way, because you will definitely pay a ton less interest the shorter term that you do. Yeah. But I always want to just caution people and say, life happens, and, there may be a time when you want to save a little money or do something, and you can accomplish a lot of the same thing by just making an extra payment per year. All You'll pull 6 years off the loan or so. Right. And then you're not bound to that higher payment. The loans that you're processing right now, are they in that? Remember, the available inventory of homes in the 350,000 and less category is it's like sold out kind of thing. It's less than a month. Is that where the bulk of your loans are? Tell me where those are in relationship to the price ranges that we talked about.
You got some high rollers out there.
You got any $1 million sales going, like that kind of thing?
I have a orthopedic surgeon that called me yesterday that's moving into town, and he's looking for $1 million plus, but for the most part, not that many of them.
Well, there were none last month, by the way. There were no sales in that category last month.
I think my highest one right now is about 675,000. My lowest one is probably 209, just a contract that I got yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's, if you're coming into town looking for that bargain for 150, 170,000, you guys know as well as I do, they're few and far between. I think there's one on 2nd Street right now that just came up.
All right. And is the ratio...
And we've got one coming on 4th Street in Medford.
Yeah, Joe does. 618
West 4th.
You should call him quick.
It's a 3-2, too, which is really hard to find right now down there.
In that area, that might be one of those little niche spots that you can do with 3% down.
Right.
Anyway, send me that address and we can look it up, and that'd be a good one.
Excellent.
Joe likes it when you have a new one to share with our audience, don't you?
Yeah, it helps. Yeah.
And what's the address again on that?
618 West 4th in Medford. So it's just a few blocks up west from Oakdale and 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you ask about the ratio? Are you still seeing? The last time I think we talked, it was you've had about 40%. Are people moving here in your loan kind of areas, and 60% are from people around here moving up or moving in and around? Is that still kind of the thing that you see? The demand, I guess, is still there, correct?
Yeah, there's people moving up. I mean, I think for the first time, and we've talked about this in the past, people feel like they have equity in their house, so they actually feel like they can sell and move up into that next one. So I am actually, probably at about the 60% people moving in. That's kind of my market, is people moving into town. Just happens to be the real estate agents that I work with and what I do. But I have had quite a few people moving up. And so, I mean, you just never know. I mean, one month could be totally different than the other, and it's not necessarily a trend. It's just who you end up getting in contact with that month. But yeah, there's people moving in from all over the place.
Yeah.
Still.
Those are the things that continues that trend that you've talked about. Well, we look at the stats coming around. It's good to hear. I mean, the interest rates are what they are, and a person is smart, whether you're an investor right now, whatever, just take advantage of that, because it's a great way to do it. I mean, all the way around. Nothing bad about that. Okay, 7 years ago, we talked about affordability and housing and all this kind of thing when we started. Today the latest MLS stats show, Joe, less than, I believe something. What is it, like 5%? It's like 5%. Are foreclosed properties today being sold. I mean, it's really low. 7 years ago when we started, it was 35%, by the way. 55% were regular equity sales, 35% were foreclosed sales, and the rest were short sales.
Right.
I mean, that was and what a turnaround today. Even the listings, I mean, it's 95% of listings today are equity sales. So that world of that foreclosure thing is really shrunk. But again, I just want all of our listeners to know, HomePath.com this week has 8 homes on there, 8 new homes, and they range from Shady Cove to Medford, all around this valley.
There's some hot ones out in Eagle Point.
So do not, again, you have to have an agent to help you with that, but don't leave that niche there of those foreclosed properties.
Some really nice Eagle Point properties that are coming up out there, and that foreclosed, that 55%, that peaked even higher than that after we came on the air 7 years ago. It went to where it dominated the market within a couple of years of that. So it's nice to see that number back where it should be and normally is.
It's back to a normal thing. Well, the issue now becomes, again, as prices go up and the demand, we're still 200 listings short this month than we were a year ago. So the demand, that gap, the demand versus the supply continues to do its thing, and that's what's causing, of course, the affordability issue to creep back into our conversation.
Right.
Now, today we've got with us Riley Pence, who's a member of the Jackson County Housing Authority, who's been patiently sitting here waiting for us to get to talk to him finally here, which we are. Because the issue of affordability all of a sudden has reared its head. We haven't talked about it for years. I mean, we haven't talked about it hardly ever, have we, since we started our show, because it was not an issue. Is it now? First of all, Riley, welcome to the Real Estate Show today. You got to talk right into that thing.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So affordability, is it? It's not just an empty word, is it, to people?
No, it's not, and it really hasn't been brought to the forefront here since for a while until now, as these home sales again begin to rise, and the need has always been there. We've tried to maintain it. I mean, we've been fortunate enough with the Housing Authority to be able to build a new construction project each year for the last 11 years in the Rogue Valley, from White City to Grants Pass.
That's saying a lot too. Yeah,
I did not realize that.
For a few years there. Yeah,
right. Yeah, and so we were the only ones building, especially multifamily. Nobody was building multifamily.
Oh yeah, I mean, no one was building anything for a long time.
Right.
The Jackson County Housing Authority. When people hear about it, now it's different than the Housing Commission, right, Joe? The Medford Housing Commission. This is a different thing, or the Jackson County Housing Authority. You're not a government agency, right?
Correct. We're a quasi-judicial agency. We're not connected to the county, to the state, or anything like that. We are bound to work within the county. That's why we're the Housing Authority of Jackson County. We were established by the county commissioners back in, I believe, in the late 60s.
Yeah, it was a long time. It's been around a long time. What do you do? I mean, what does the Housing Authority? What's your main charge that they give you?
Our mission is to provide affordable, safe, and decent housing for low-income families.
Okay.
So basically, we have our property management side of it, which works with clients to get into these affordable housing units. Now they're not subsidized units, as per somebody's thinking HUD housing or something like that.
I'm just going to ask you that. You're not HUD.
We're not HUD.
Okay.
HUD is out of Portland. You'll hear that 10 times a day at the front desk. No, HUD is in Portland. You can give them a call up there. We're the Housing Authority.
Does the Housing Authority? Do they own all the properties that you manage and operate?
Correct. We own and manage all of our properties. So we have our own maintenance staff that takes care of the maintenance on these. Our own property managers and our own caseworkers.
So you would be one of the biggest landlords in Jackson County, aren't you? Then.
Definitely the biggest landlord for affordable housing. I'm not sure if in general.
If not, I know there's rental management companies.
There's a lot of different landlords that are represented.
Right,
you got a lot of units, and you've been building more each year.
So how many units do you have right now that are occupied, Riley?
All of our units are occupied. We have a waiting list for each one of our developments.
Really?
And some of those waiting lists can be 1 to 2 years to get in these.
Mm-hmm.
Now currently we have 154 units under construction.
Right. And you've got a bunch of stuff coming.
We do.
Okay.
So
where will we'll talk about those in just a little bit, because I'm thrilled to hear this, because the need has obviously not gone down since we started this round. So that's good. All right. So where would I find homes, properties from the Housing Authority right now around?
Basically, what you would want to do is come down to our office. We're located on Table Rock Road here, right down the way. And then we'd have a list of all of our properties that we own and manage. Also on our website as well.
They're all there and stuff. And what kind of properties are they? I mean, what's the variety of them?
For the most part, they're all multifamily properties. They range. I think one of our smaller development is, I want to say 20 units up to an 84 unit property.
And have you built all of these? Does the authority build these?
We have not built them all. We acquired a lot of the properties before, I want to say, the 90s. Some of these older properties, we acquired them. But ever since, a little bit after the 2000s, like I said, we've been maintaining a pipeline. We have a 5-year pipeline for development. So we've been maintaining that, and we've been fortunate enough to be, luckily, winning a grant.
So your things are not necessarily single-family homes, but multi-family homes for low income to, you get more density, that kind of thing into it. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
need that.
He'll elaborate on, but the Cherry Creek and the downtown development and the inner workings and working with the city on that was quite a process, but I think it's going to benefit a lot of people. It's going to benefit downtown as well.
Well, we're going to talk about that more, and the Real Estate Show continues here on KMED. Don't forget, check out all of our shows at realestateshowOregon.com. We're coming right back after the Real Estate Show continues here on KMED. July the 16th is our date. Welcome to the show. Pete Belcastro here with you. As we go into July and the second half of this month, the MLS, there's a lot of activity going on. The interesting part in the latest statistics show that actually showings by agents in the two counties was down almost 10% from a year ago, which was very interesting in terms of just the number of lock boxes that were opened and shown properties around the counties. It was very interesting. Those stats, the pending sales, again, we'll give you these things. This is June, all right? June, comparing June of this year to last year. Pending sales in the Valley are down 20% from a year ago. That was the first time we've seen that particular area there, Guy Giles, first of all. It was interesting. New listings, we know that. They're down 20% as well. So you had it even, the pendings and listings were exactly the same. There was no gain. There was no additional inventory out there, which I thought we would see more inventory. It seemed like just being around it all month there. Average days in the market, 45 days.
Wow.
That's still pretty low. Original price versus list price. Sellers are getting now 97% overall in Jackson County of their asking price. 97%.
I almost think that could be part of that lockbox thing too, as far as, people know that if they like a house, they're not going to be able to just shop around for a month and a half.
Well,
if they find the one they want, I think
the
realtors are educating them on what they need to go in at and just getting the thing done.
That's a good point, actually. That's a very, very good point there. Available homes per buyer. This is the things that we've been down 7% from a year ago. Ashland, though, Ashland has about 6 available homes per buyer, to northeast, East Medford only has 2, so it's very different. And the month supply of inventory, which we've been tracking for you, as you know, it continues to drop 11% in the last year. Now there's a 2.3 month supply of inventory overall in the county. And as long as we don't have inventory, you're going to continue to see the price, the pressure on prices to go up. To go up. That's just supply and demand. And this is a supply and demand business, man.
So you're saying if no new houses got listed 2 months, it would just be gone?
Yes.
There would be one more place to buy. That is crazy.
And then if you dig down further into the price categories of $150,000 or less, or $250,000 to $350,000, it's less than a month's supply. So you can see the pressure, and that's why Riley Pence is here from the Housing Authority of Jackson County. You can see why people are being squeezed out. The affordability issue is becoming difficult, because if you see a house come on at $150,000 or $175,000, there's sometimes 10 offers on these properties. So you can see it's now become that kind of a market again, in that. And that's good and bad, folks. I think. And
that's why it's just so important to have a good agent that you're working with. I've had people come in and just say, well, let's do this and let's lowball them here and let's go there. And the reality is you could do that all day long. You're welcome to, and all offers have to be presented, but you need to know that you're going up against, 4 different people with full price offers, and sometimes even more than the asking price. So if you think you're going to come in and ask these sellers now to pay all your closing costs and offer them 5% low, good luck.
Well, you have to have a pre-approval letter. You got to get your lender. You got to get the letter that you provide, and you do that pretty easily. You can get that information out relatively fast as long as people bring you the information that you need, right? I tell them that all the time. You got to get the stuff to you.
It is important to come in and come prepared, because the stronger you can go. I mean, you could jump online probably and get pre-approved in a couple of minutes and get everything done, but it's not a true pre-approval. You know, we like to get people in, really look at their income, really look at their assets, and if I'm not mistaken, it has been over 2 years since I closed a loan late.
Really?
I mean, we were looking at that in our meeting the other day, and watch, now that I say it, some will blow up for sure. But you know, through what we're doing, you know, I don't try to take on more business than I can handle really comfortably and get everybody closed. Not that it's not painful sometimes to get a loan done, because, you know, we're in a full doc world still, which we should be. But I think it's just, you know, that this whole thing, it is a matter of going in. If somebody sees a pre-approval letter from a giant bank that you're never going to have to look somebody in the eye, and they see a comparable pre-approval letter from one of us local guys that, you know, that the real estate agents have learned to trust, you know, that could be the difference in getting your offer accepted too. And the other thing, like I said, you know, we're really big on getting people in and getting them fully pre-approved rather than, you know, just a pre-qual.
Right.
So I have, anyway, it just makes everything easier on everybody.
Good for you, because that's why you have a whole bunch of loans going on in your down there at Bank 34, because you're doing that, obviously. Good for you.
Yeah,
you know?
we've been blessed. Yeah, work for a really good company.
Good for you. We're also here today with Riley Pence from the Housing Authority. When we talk affordability, what does that mean in the world of the Housing Authority? Because again, if you manage 1,600 apartments, Riley, and you've got people in them, they got to be income qualified and those kind of things. But I mean, what's the demand like for that? Are you seeing, and who are the people actually that you're seeing who are in these places?
So, for example, one of our most current projects or developments was out in the Grants Pass area. We did a first-come, first-served basis for applications to rent there.
Okay.
There was people camping out for 5 days in order to get signed up for this housing. I mean, it was the first affordable housing development in the city of Grants Pass in the last 20 years. So as you're talking about the affordability of purchasing a home, you know, you leave out, you know, these single-family homes or these smaller couples who, you know, maybe a single income, maybe a person going to school and another person's a server at a restaurant that we go to. It's really the working class, because
it's the demographic sounds like everything.
Correct. It is everything. I mean, you have to have income to be able to live in one of our rental units. So it's not a free ride by any means.
Because you have to pay for them and keep them up in the whole thing.
Correct.
I remember when these were first coming out, when I was still involved in the news business and stuff, was the neighbors would just complain about, you know, when you say, oh, it's going to be low, I hate the word low-income housing. I don't know what else, affordable housing, I guess, is the word. That, it's just going to just ruin the neighborhood, lower this, with the same argument going over the tiny houses that's going on in Medford. And for my just driving around showing clients and stuff around in different properties, these properties are in pretty good shape, aren't they? I mean, people take care of these, don't they? I mean, that's my experience with it.
Well, and you've got, I mean, the difference is between us and a private landlord is we have major investors involved in these. So you have asset managers coming through and making sure that these things are up to par. We have a 60-year affordability term on these properties. So we're in it for the long haul, and you wouldn't even be able to pick out one of our developments compared to a private developer, but you always get that NIMBYism, the not in my backyard.
Right.
But a good example is Cherry Creek up there off of Spring Street. Huge confrontation.
Right.
You know, it was going to destroy everybody's home values, and you know, luckily we did come to an accord with the city of Medford. We're able to attain a downtown project site there on 6th and Grape next to the Mail Tribune.
You're right. And that was the kind of an alternative deal for that? Is that what that was?
We were going to do a 2-phase 100-unit development there on Spring. We actually honed it down to 50 units, and then we're doing a 50-unit mid-rise there at 6th and Grape.
So you've got stuff going on right now. You're building more.
Yeah, we have the development out in Grants Pass, which is halfway online. We've got.
And is it full? Is it going to be full?
It's full. We've got a waiting list of over a year already.
Oh, kidding.
And it's, I mean,
and what are the rents on some of those?
The rents on those, I want to say there are a 1-bedroom is around $500, a 2-bedroom is, I want to say $575, and a 3-bedroom about $650. We like to be we try to be 25%.
And that is affordable for many people.
Right.
I mean, I see this all the time. Guy used to. I mean, that's really. I don't know what the alternative is if you're not there for many people.
There's just not one. I think it's a great option. I remember when I was starting out. We're looking 25 years back. That'll date me a little bit. I was working at Pragetzer over in White City. I wasn't making a ton of money, and having something like that to be able to do, it's just a really good resource for people.
Well, retirees. I mean, I can just see so many people needing places, and the alternative is you have to go out in the street.
Right. I mean, you try to find
isn't that true?
You try to find a rental in this area, as you guys know. It's ridiculous.
So without the housing authority, I mean, we would really be up a creek in terms of trying to provide affordable housing for people. And it's just not just the $1 million places, is it? It is really these kind of properties that deserve the most attention and really need the most help. Anyway, we're the Real Estate Show. We got one more segment to go with Guy Giles and Riley Pence. We're back in a minute. Real Estate Show rolls on KMED. July the 16th is our day. Next week, the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors will be along. 2 weeks from today, Lance and Tara Landers from Ionic Estate Sales will be along, and we'll tell you the latest on how you do estate sales, because we all, at one time or another, we're going to go through it. And the stories that come out of it and the way people do it are totally different things. And you're going to enjoy that show in a couple of weeks. Today here on the show, Guy Giles from Bank 34 Mortgage, our resident mortgage lending expert, is in the house, along with Riley Pierce, who's of the Housing Authority of Jackson County. And we're kind of talking everything from, well, mortgage interest rates being so affordable right now. Guys busy, which is good. The demand is still there, and I guess that part of the market is continuing to roll along. That's good.
It is busy. Now I'm going to probably sleep tonight thinking, did I close one late in the last 2 years? Now this is bothering me. Poor old John Ford, he's a really good real estate agent here in town. That was the last one that I can remember. Yeah. So, but anyway,
that's really good.
It is busy.
That's really good for you, because especially with the changes in the the reporting rules from the disclosure rules. That if delayed, I know have delayed some. I've been delayed sometimes.
We have tried to address that by when we're sending our loan to final underwriting. At that point, we send our CD out. So it's not one of these things where we wait and then it comes back and we're doing it last minute. The last one that I actually had an issue with closing late wasn't because we didn't have our docs at the table. We were ready to go, and this bank. The people buying their house, they hadn't got their CD out until the day we were signing our docs. Yeah. So we closed them late every now and then, but it hasn't been on us.
If you're closing one house, trying to buy the other one, it's like a choreography of a dance to get everything to line up together to get it all to close and everything. So many things can go wrong. It's just amazing.
I can't imagine doing your job as far as that goes.
Some sleepless nights, appraising and home inspections, all sorts of things kind of can throw wrinkles into a real estate transaction. Well, anyway, before we get out of here today, Riley Pierce from the Housing Authority of Jackson County. I'm really pleased to hear the way you guys are doing this in terms of making it affordable for people to live. The problem is that we don't have enough of it. What do you have more, Riley, planned in the future? Is there more projects coming up to meet the demand that's out there for affordable housing right now?
We're trying to keep up with it. Unfortunately, it's just not possible at this time. No. We do have another 54 units out in White City in collaboration with the VA out there. And so 18 units of those will be dedicated to homeless veterans.
Wow, okay.
And then
the rest of those are just regular rent outs for you.
Exactly. The rest of them are for just any general public.
Now, the project downtown Medford, all right, which is under construction right now. And by the way, it's going to look really cool. I mean, it's going to be neat. It's a great spot for it, by the way, downtown. How is that project going?
It's coming along good. They are moving right along. They had a little bit of setbacks with some steel at the beginning, but that'll be 50 units.
50 units, okay.
The Concord, it should be up and running in November.
Now, do you have that rented out? Is that full too?
They have not started making applications for that because we're still far out, but they will be doing a similar process.
Now, if someone is interested in that and have not done that, how does someone apply, or where do they go to get the information, Riley, to if they're going to be eligible, maybe want to go for that?
I would definitely have them either call or come into our office. We're located on Table Rock Road, or you can also check out our website at hajc.net.
hajc.net. Okay, so just Google Housing Authority of Jackson County, and it'll come up there. So 50 units are going to become available.
Yes,
and it would seem like you're going to be able to fill those pretty easily then.
Oh yeah,
there's not a problem there at all.
No,
and it's mixed. It's studios. It's single bedroom, 2 bedroom is the most.
Right,
correct.
1 and 2 bedroom apartments.
1 and 2 bedrooms apartments. Well, see, I think that's really good. And in the future, okay, when are you going to have more? Are there going to be more projects coming?
We're hoping so. Currently, we're working on a application to the state for funding, and we should know, early fall if we were fortunate enough to get another one. It is a very competitive process.
And so the money comes from the state, is that right?
The money is
to do these developments.
Correct. The money is allocated to the state, and then they will disperse it out.
Well, it seems like you guys are getting pretty good at this. You're getting quite a bit of it.
We've been very fortunate over the last couple of years. Our director of development, Jason Elsie, he's phenomenal when it comes to putting these things together. So.
See, it seems like my big complaint about after doing this is that there's nobody really in charge of housing in Jackson County or any of these counties. You got the housing authority doing your thing, which is issuing it with affordable housing. You got HUD doing its thing over here. You've got the housing commissions over here, and you got all sorts of different things, but nobody kind of coordinates of kind of what are we building? Are we building most of what we need?
Right.
What do we need most of? I guess. And do you see that guy? I mean, we're in those home building in East Medford. I mean, that's where most of it is taking place, it seems, and some of that's affordable.
Yeah, it just depends on what's affordable.
What's affordable
if you just sold your $750,000 shack in California and you're walking up here with $750,000 in cash, then everything's affordable.
Right, but can I get affordable if I want a $250,000 new construction? I mean, is that affordable?
It's. I think it's doable for a lot of people, but with the amount of regulation that's into even building the houses and the permitting and just the cost that it takes now to build a house, and it's just going up, more government regulation. I don't know where it's heading.
Well, where's the market again? The market here is certainly in $350,000 and below. That's where so much of the activity is taking place, and certainly you can get new construction in there. That's some affordable housing to keep those prices as low as you can.
And that $209,000 one that we put in yesterday, literally, it's brand new construction. So
really? Okay.
They're out there.
Yeah.
I think it was kind of out in White City, but a nice little neighborhood out there. And I'm amazed every time I drive around out there. There's just really cool houses and people fixing up their stuff, all over. So I don't think that's a bad option out there at all.
Remember, we went from an era of so many people underwater to an Oregon statistic of 96.1% of homes are now above, have equity in them. That's why you're seeing, guys, so much movement. As you said earlier in the show, that's why we're seeing a lot of that. That's why the activity is going on, because people are feeling pretty good about that in a market that is obviously a seller's market, continues to be.
Definitely the way we're underwriting loans nowadays, we're doing it the way we always should have been. So we're not writing a lot of loans that are going to go bad, I don't think.
Yeah.
So
you haven't, because look at them. There's not very many foreclosed properties anymore.
No, it's a good thing.
5% foreclosed properties on the market. That's not very many. Hey, we're out of time this week. Riley Pierce, nice to visit with you, and good luck with you and the Housing Authority. Keep those projects going, and you don't have a problem keeping them filled as well. Guy Giles will visit with you soon as well.
Thank you.
Bank 34 Mortgage. That'll do it for the Real Estate Show. Have a great week, everybody. We'll talk to you next Saturday right here on KMED.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Show on KMED AM and FM radio, presented by John L. Scott Real Estate of Southern Oregon, along with All Cities Property Management, the Home Builders Association of Jackson County, Ditech Mortgage, the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors. For guest information or to watch a past show, visit us online at realestateshoworegon.com. Join us again next weekend for Southern Oregon's one and only Real Estate Show on KMED.